I don't know if you're aware of it, but in the Charleston County area in South Carolina, the legal corruption is at an all-time high. It's very difficult to find an honest lawyer in Charleston County. Some people resort to seeking legal counsel in Columbia. But in Charleston County, the lawyers there, oh my God, they're awful. So there's a lot of legal malpractice that's committed by lawyers, and that's basically they're violating the rules of the ABA. Clients off, making deals that are not in the best interest of their client, charging the clients for work that they have not done. All these are violations under the ABA. So in the legal community, when a lawyer does something that's considered legal malpractice, you can contact the South Carolina Office of Disciplinary Counsel, which is called ODC. So they're supposed to provide oversight. So if a lawyer does something, you can report them to ODC, provide evidence, and they're supposed to do an investigation. But here's what actually happens. ODC, you submit your information to them and they dismiss it, even if you have evidence. So in my dealings with attorneys, I've had at least 4 attorneys where I filed legal malpractice suits against, and every last one of those claims was dismissed by ODC, even when I had evidence. And the South Carolina Bar, you would file with them if you wanted to try to get some of your attorney's fees back. But same as ODC, they'll dismiss your claim. They'll say you don't meet the threshold or whatever to get your attorney's fees back. So there are attorneys that handle these complaints against other attorneys. So basically, if you're pro se, you're representing yourself, these lawyers, corrupt lawyers, they're covered because there are no consequences and no discipline being handed out when you report them to the Office of Disciplinary Counsel. And the South Carolina ODC receives funds from the state of South Carolina. So the governor would be over that organization. I believe I've contacted the governor's office about it maybe once or twice. He does absolutely nothing. So you have the attorneys, ODC doesn't do anything. You contact the governor's office, they don't do anything. So there were a couple of attorneys. I contacted SLED, which is the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division in South Carolina, and I sent a packet with evidence. I had one attorney that I actually did file a lawsuit against. I ended up paying her $24,000 in legal fees, attorney fees, and she never even scheduled a mediation date. So she got the full fee as if we went to trial, and she was never able to get a mediation date. And there's another attorney, I believe, allegedly, that they colluded together. So anyway, the charges was fraud, wire fraud, RICO, all of that. So I contacted SLED, and one of the officers contacted me back, or I spoke with the officer, and he said that he would not be doing an investigation. And I asked why. I'm not sure what the reason was, but he said he wasn't going to do an investigation. I said, who do you answer to? He says, the governor. So there is no oversight when it comes to recourse in the consequences for these lawyers that are blatantly committing legal malpractice. The governor's not doing anything, SLED's not doing anything, ODC's not doing anything, South Carolina Bar, they're not doing anything. So that kind of transitions into the lawsuit that I have against Curtiss-Wright. So Curtiss-Wright receives funds from the state of South Carolina. They receive tax incentives. They receive all kind of incentives for doing business, or tax breaks for doing business in South Carolina. But in exchange for those incentives, they have to obey the South Carolina Human Affairs law, and they have to obey the federal laws, Title VII, and there's another law in South Carolina. It's the South Carolina Pregnancy Accommodation Law. So when you receive money from the government, there's certain code of conduct that you're supposed to follow. Okay, Curtiss-Wright's not doing that. They didn't do it with me. The young lady that was there before me, she quit because of the retaliation and harassment that she faced. After I left, I have documented proof from depositions where employees said that the discrimination is still ongoing, so there's no consequence. So while I was at Curtiss-Wright, I contacted the lady over the contracts, right? South Carolina contracts. And I was asking her about, when they violate these laws, what are the consequences? She said they get the tax incentives, but there's really no enforcement if they break the law. So they're getting our taxpayer money, and when they step outside of the bounds of the agreement that they've made with the state of South Carolina, there's no enforcement. So there's no consequences to their behavior. So there's no correction. There's no reason for them to stop what they're doing because there aren't any consequences. So elections are tomorrow. So I want you to think very carefully about who are you going to vote for the next governor. So McMaster, his term is up. His lieutenant governor is Pamela Yvette. So if you vote for her, it's going to be pretty much the same thing. It's going to be all the corruption within the legal field, companies getting taxpayer money or tax breaks, and they're breaking federal law and state law with no consequences. And as far as wages in South Carolina, we haven't seen a wage increase since 2009, and the cost of living is like ridiculous. So these companies are coming here and they're lowballing you. We're not getting paid what we should get paid. Boeing, Curtiss-Wright, wherever you want, they're paying you you're probably getting paid maybe $10 less than the industry standard. So they're not paying you well, and they're mistreating you, and they're violating federal and state law. And that will continue under Pamela Yvette if you vote for her. And her lieutenant governor, her running mate, is going to be McMaster's son. So people, if you vote for this lady, they're setting us up for corporate slavery. Because McMaster doesn't like unions. He's been fighting with the International Longshoremen Association, a union, for a while. So they want to get rid of the unions. And I don't know if you remember, but in Project 2025, there was something in there about not guaranteeing women their job back if they go on maternity leave. That's one of the laws that they're supposed to abide by when doing business with South Carolina, but under Project 2025, they don't have to follow that. So if you vote for Pamela Yvette, there's going to be more oppressive laws and regulations forced upon South Carolina residents. So if you want to change and to get wage increases and hold these companies accountable when they violate the laws and not give them all these tax breaks of our taxpayer money just because they're doing business here in South Carolina, then please don't vote for Pamela Yvette. We need change, and we need it now.